I have admirations and respect for those that are solo developing their own games. Even with a lot of success and money, they easily could get people to help with the development of their future games, but they simply don't, and still to choose to make their games by themselves without any help. That is what I call dedication, and these developers I will talk about are great examples of that. So other than that, I do not want to waste too much time on this intro. So as the title of the video, I will talk about famous solo developers' less popular games. It can be either a game they made before their success or after. It is about giving an interesting view of these people just what they are already known for. This name, Scott Cawthon, immediately rings a bell for those that were part of the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom. You probably remember Fnaf in many different ways. It can be from their theories, Fnaf YouTube channels, Markiplier, countless of fan creation, and also the very cringy stuff. Also, did I forget to mention Markiplier?
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier.
Fnaf is one of the most well-known games to exist. Even if you have never interacted and ignored this game in all possible ways, it is quite hard to not know about this series. So the question is it really that great or even one of the best? No, it isn't. Fnaf is far away from being one of the best games, but the concept was creative, fun, simple and good. It had an understandable appeal that attracted many fans. Most of these fans didn't come for the game itself, it was more about the lore, theories, fan creation and also the freaky stuff. Exotic. Men also didn't even play Fnaf to begin with, and was just only here for the fandom itself. And for those that didn't know, Scott has attempted making games many times before his success with Fnaf. His early career, he made Christian video games that had some kind of Christian religious theme to it, and Scott Cawthon being a devout Christian, it's not that surprising. And at the same time, it isn't that surprising these games were not really successful. Christian plus video games isn't really something that would interest the core audience. Not saying it wouldn't work, something like Faith, Unholy Trinity or Far Cry 5 works.
Yes!
But both of these games have a very dark Christian theme to it, and it was not the main focus or the message of the game really. So deciding what to play from Scott Cawthon wasn't that hard at all, because I saw a game called the Desolate on his Steam page that was free. The rest was just Fnaf games, and I'm not going to play Fnaf games either, it's not the point of the video. I could if I want to go to other old games he made, but I don't want to because most of them kinda look quite goofy, and yes, I'm going to be that guy that complains about the graphics. And I'm not going to search for all these games either, it just won't happen. And the Desolate Hope also just looked the most interesting. So what is the Desolate Hope? Well, it is a game that combines both platforming and RPG elements. It is an interesting concept, but I think it could have been executed better. So let's move on to the game. The game starts with a resolution of 720p, and there's no way for you to increase or decrease the resolution. This is already a downside. You're forced to play with 720p regardless of what you do, and there's no settings menu either to change the graphical settings or controls. This would be okay if this was for a console game, but the Desolate Hope is only for the PC. I do not really understand why Scott didn't back then just take some extra time to add higher resolution options and be able to change keybinds. Oh well, I guess that is what I have to deal with. When I start the game, it starts off with this cryptic message, and then a dialogue between the main protagonist and whatever this thing is. This conversation is quite long, so in short, they are talking about the mission they are going to do. And also, I quickly learned that by mistake, if you press escape, the game will turn off. Okay, so when you actually enter the game, you can already see it has a very strong cyber theme to it. And every character in the game is either a robot or a computer. And you, as the protagonist, are a robot coffee machine.
I prefer my coffee black.
And here it starts to get a bit confusing, because of all the computers, AI, robots, etc. I honestly don't really know what is going on. Even after reading the wiki, I'm still not really that sure, and it feels complicated to explain, but I will explain it the best I can. Anyway, you're on an abandoned human research station on an unknown planet that have sentient machines that were test running simulations for human colonization. If Earth one day will get uninhabitable, the research station now has been abandoned, and the last contact with Earth was 30 years ago. And despite being so isolated from any connection outside the station, they somehow suddenly got attacked by an unknown virus ravaging the system. And the protagonist, the coffee robot, which is the only mobile resident, gets tasked with dealing with this virus with the Deco, which is a sentient program that will help you. I don't understand how this robot can be the only mobile resident, but okay. So here is the gameplay starts. You go to the derelicts, okay? Yeah, it's basically the main computers you connect with. to find the virus and defeat it. As you enter one of the derelicts, yeah, you will get into a platforming level and press X to shoot and C to jump. You need to hold C if you want to jump high. You find enemies that you either shoot or avoid. Each different type of enemy will drop different colored X. I'm not going to explain what these do yet, I will come to that later. As you platform your way through, you can buy upgrades for your movements and weapons that you can buy upgrades with computer chips, I think they are. Eventually you find a terminal which you hack into, and then the game suddenly changes to retro 2D, which you go through a labyrinth to find a problem to fix. And also you shoot enemies here too, but instead in 2D. After you manage to hack it, the device will be visibly exposed. You search around the map and eventually find an exposed virus that looks like this. When you touch it, this happens. Yeah, suddenly the game became an RPG game with an active time portal, and because it was so unexpected for me, with no surprise I lost the fight, since the options were simple as attack, defend, heal and etc. This could have been a good moment to just temporarily pause the game and tell the player what to do before you just throw me into something like this. I had no idea what these options really do, but I did eventually figure them out, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but you could still just do something. This is just weird, and the eggs you picked up before will give you boost in this battle, so later when I defeated the virus, you can then move on to the next level or a bit longer in the current one to get everything you want, and then to another derelicts, these things, which is different. That is how the game is played. So what is my opinion about this game? It was actually decent, despite its flaws. I mostly enjoyed it actually, and because the game is free, it's no harm to check it out. But it was also very interesting to explore because the outside looks good with this cyber theme. My favorite place is the hallways just by design, because it reminds me so much of Fnaf. And I like this giant robot statue that looks like Freddy Fazbear. I just think coming into this game fresh can be quite overwhelming. There are some things I have not mentioned, so I'll just put the rest on the screen I didn't mention. But there's just so much to this game that I haven't talked enough already. I cannot give this game too much attention. This is too long already. I think what Scott was trying to do was an interesting idea. I just think it wasn't executed that well. I think if he spent more time developing this game with a long-term purpose, I think could have been something unique, but it feels like this game isn't, that it was supposed to be more to Desolate Hope. As an example, if you take damage, there's no sound cue, you just blink a little bit, which you can easily miss. The UI looks very average, there's no tutorial, enemies that don't do anything and just stand there unless you touch them. Pressing escape will exit the game with no warning, like stuff like this will make you wonder. So in the end, I can only recommend you play this if you're a Fnaf fan that also likes platform and RPG games, interested in exploring Scott's games before Fnaf. Other than that, well, that is up to you decide. Now I just want to move on to the next developer. I am just so done with this game now. You very likely have heard about Iron Lung if you are from the YouTube horror side. It blew up some time ago with many YouTubers covering it. And you maybe to a lesser extent have heard about Squirrel Stapler too. But I'm quite certain that most of you, unless you know about David Szymanski, don't know about David's other games he has made. And here I came to a bit of a problem, because he has made so many games, it was kinda difficult to where should I begin or play. So I decided to play two games he made, which are Fingerbones and Dusk. Yes, I decided to play two games made by him, and the reason for this is because of his long catalog of games. But to begin, let's start with Fingerbones. Fingerbones was actually his first game released on Steam 2014, which is free by the way, and I'm going to be honest about Fingerbones, it is just very mediocre, and it is good to see he has become a much better developer than he was. I will go over the problems with Fingerbones quickly, since I rather not want to talk about this game or ever touch it again. But what is it with this walking speed? It is just so slow. It was not fun to walk back and forth at this speed. There were also many notes written on them giving you most of the context of the story, but you had to have them on basic text with no flavor. Why? Couldn't you have made a texture for the paper and you put the text that looks like it was handwritten instead? And the game had no sense of direction. Most of the time I was just lost, walking back and forth with this slow walking speed, trying to figure out what to do. The story was just meh. It felt like a typical shock story. But some of the good is that I did like the music. For a short game like this, it works well. The graphics and art style was also quite decent, but even for a free game, I do not recommend you play this. It was very boring. I could have played another game instead, but looking at the options, they all seem to be similar to each other, so I would rather not spend money on something like that. But now moving on from this, let's talk about Dusk. And what may come up in your mind right now is that Dusk is a horror game like Iron Lung or Squirrel Stapler. Well, this will surprise you, because this is what Dusk actually is. Yeah, quite the tone shift, isn't it? David is also known for making boomer shooters, and for those that don't know what a boomer shooter is, it is similar style to Wolfenstein 3D and the first Doom game, which is the best way I can explain it. He also made Sharp Goblins, which is less popular. I was considering playing that one instead, but because the game kinda looked too strange in my opinion, and that Dusk just looks cooler, I think Dusk was the better option here. Anyway, Dusk is a good game. I like it. It has a fun gunplay and movements that are fast, which is ironic from the last game I just played, and the graphics are just very retro, and this art style he used on almost every game he has made. The game starts with an intro to Dusk. Immediately puts you into the game and starts action. No tutorial or anything, just go. I start off with the dual-wielded sickles I use as melee weapons, which makes me think of a specific character. I fight through the first monsters to proceed. I then later find a pistol, which I could finally attack with range. It was weak, but it felt nice I could finally fight from a safe distance. Then shortly after I also found a shotgun, which makes it especially good against melee enemies and tight spaces. There are also some secret places you can find as a bonus objective, but your main objective is to fight your way through to exit the level. And this is how every level is. Each level gets harder and harder. You will also face new enemies and sometimes bosses. At the same time, you'll get access to new weapons that are better or can be good to use in new scenarios, which will be helpful, and that is how you play to progress the game. And what is fun is that all the inspiration in the Steam description are all just literally 90s boomers shooters. Doom, Quake, Blood, Heretic, Half-Life, Redneck Rampage. Half-Life is the only exception here. The inspiration from Half-Life is probably physics and that you can bunny hop for faster movement speed. You also get the time when you beat the level. So the combination with the fast moving speed, bunny hops and the time, this game has purposely been made for speedrunners, and that shows.
Hi, I'm Andrew Holsholt. I did the music and some of the sound design for Dusk, and this is...
Hi, I'm David Szymanski. I made Dusk. Oh no. Oh, someone said
nice.
This must hurt for David to see his game blown through like this. No, this is awesome. This is what
great.
I wanted.
Yeah. It's like a portion of this was like most of it was built with it in mind.
Yeah. Like, the reason there are so many stupid out of bounds in episode 1 is because we're just like, just leave them in for speedrunners, it'll be funny. Like, that's how we design games.
I would like to mention that the music in the game is great. Andrew Holsholt is the composer for the music, and that is what I'm using the music for right now for this section of the video. The soundtrack is just a banger, and each level in the game has a different track that will play. Also adds to the excitement each time you proceed to the next level. If you're into rock metal, then I recommend you take a listen to the soundtrack. So I'm gonna say that this game is underrated. Yes, really. It's a really good game that deserves more attention. If you played a game like Doom, you will like this too. Dusk combines both retro and modern and gaming in a fun way. Get this game if you are interested, because trust me, you will have a fun time. I also recommend it for those that are a fan of Half-Life to look into Dusk, since this game does have some elements of Half-Life in the game you would enjoy, but in general, do consider giving this game a chance. I would probably never known about Dusk without his popularity with Iron Lung and Squirrel Stapler he got from the horror scene. Dusk is David Szymanski's at his best, and this is where I end this section and move on to Zeekerss. And I want to mention, if you made this far, consider subscribing, liking and commenting the video. It would help my video getting boosted in the algorithm. For a small channel like mine, it would be appreciated for you to do that. Compared to the rest of developers here in the list, they're either in their 30s or 40s, but Zeekerss is an interesting one because in the time of making this video, he's only 22 years old, which is actually impressive for what he has accomplished in such a short time in his career. Because before he did game development, he made Roblox creations that were particularly successful. He then moved to actual game development, which had a success from its deals, Desolate, the Upturned, which is the game I will showcase, and of course the massive success with Lethal Company. The game I decided to play is the Upturned, because it seemed the most interesting for me. The Upturned is a 3D platform horror with a lot of humor. So the game starts with is first getting greeted with the naming your character. The controls here were weird, so my character became Sasax without any undue burden. So what I actually wanted to name him was Saxophone Saxo. Never mind, that was actually intentionally added by Zeekerss to troll the player. Damn you, you furry fuck. And I wasn't a fan of the footsteps you added to this game. Take a listen. Which gave me a weird first impression, to be honest, Zeekerss. But don't worry, this was my only complaint since the game is still good. But the moment you jump into the game, you will already tell the art style is very similar to Lethal Company. You will also find the exact same assets here that was later used on Lethal Company. But anyway, you're unalive, but an I will call you, and have no idea how you became unalive. You run down a forest here that doesn't have much going, except it has a creepy atmosphere. You then later stumble up to a hotel and meet the receptionist. His name is Ike. Yes, and your name is Mr. Sussex. That's a strange name. And he tells you a booked room and tells you go to the elevator at floor 1434 in room 1434-1. Damn, that hotel must be 10 times taller than Burj Khalifa. And of course you don't have any other choice to progress the game. So you enter the elevator, then obviously doesn't go as planned. The elevator is broken because the fuse doesn't work as intended. So the receptionist sends you on a mission to find a new fuse to fix it, which just made you go slightly higher every time you use a new fuse, which then you need a new fuse again, and here we come to the game loop. You do this until you reach the top. May sound like a lazy game design, yeah, I can see that, but every level has a unique set of obstacles and enemies. What the f? And it progressively gets harder each level. It is a simple concept but very well executed platformer. While progressing, the receptionist is going to talk with you on your way to the room on the phone. The receptionist is kind of your comic relief character and also the one that gives you the most lore in the game. He's just the overall a fun character to interact with. Oh my! Mr. Sax, the elevator is sideways. Yes, well, it appears to me that it wasn't the cable of the car. Despite the game being horror-ish, I say horror-ish because it didn't feel like it was scary after like 30 minutes of playing, and it became more like comedy instead. The game has a lot of humor. Well, it is Zeekerss' own type of humor put into the game. You may ask what I mean with that. Well, it is like you have that friend that makes jokes about different specific things she finds funny. As an example, he likes making jokes about snakes, like how they move, act to things. Then you may look at snakes at a zoo, you probably think of your friend's odd sense of humor, because you know that would be only him saying something funny about them. That is the feeling I get from this game. It feels like what Zeekerss would do. It is like Toby Fox with his unique way of humor to Undertale. Although this game is just a solid platformer, I can recommend it. It is short, it takes like 5 hours to complete the game, but you can also do bonus levels, so the exact time to get 100% I don't know. But if you're a fan of Lethal Company, I think it is especially worth it for you to play it, because you will find some interesting things related to the game. I also have a theory that the Upturned and Lethal Company are the same universe, which interestingly I have seen no one talk about, but for some reason people have theorized Irolung is. Like, come on guys, it is 2 games made with 2 different people. Anyway, I'll finish this off with it is interesting how quickly Zeekerss became successful. It really shows in the Upturned and Lethal Company that he really feels like he puts efforts and cares about these games, and also feels like he had fun when he made them. So I just want to end with congratulations Zeekerss, you deserve it. And here we have the creator of Paper Please. Paper Please is a game that brought something new and innovative when it got released. The idea of playing as an immigration officer is a unique way to play a game. There are so many things you need to look for while playing, and in addition there's a high tension with the neighboring country, Croatia, and you are border immigration inspector for Troska that just ended a 6-year-long war with their neighbor, which adds even more tension to the game. I have actually never played the game, but I remember it well when watching YouTubers playing it. It was such an interesting game to watch, and after the success there were quite many knockoffs trying to replicate the success of Paper Please. And here we come to the return of the Obra Dinn, a game Lucas made 4 years after Papers, Please. Obra Dinn, I will say it in the short from now on, is a detective game. The game starts with a vessel suddenly appearing outside the coast of England. You are tasked with investigating this ship. This ship is of course no other than the Obra Dinn, the ship that was lost 5 years ago. As you enter, there's no sign of life anywhere. It is a ghost ship that somehow mysteriously appeared from nowhere. You then later pick up a strange clock with a skull from your suitcase, and you then find a pile of bones and you use the clock, and this happens.
Captain! Open the door! Kick it in. Ah! Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
At the moment of their end, you can expect what happened at the last moment of their lives. So now you need to figure out who was this man that got shot, who is the person that was shot him, and who are the rest of these people. Your goal with a book of all these 51 crew members and 9 passengers is to figure out what happened with every single person on this list. So we see what just happened. Obviously, he got shot. We see the evidence right in front of us, so that is a simple thing for us to already mark out. But who is exactly this person?
Gay.
He's one of these 60 people on this list. For now we have no idea who this person is. There's no mention of his name, rank and the nationality. So far this guy could be anyone. But the one that shot him though. Listen to what they did at the beginning before it happened.
Captain! Open the door!
Yeah, now more in a clear picture and what is written down on the notebook, we can assume this is the captain of the ship with the gun. Case closed, right? And maybe not actually. How can you actually be this sure that is actually the captain of the ship? Sure, they say the captain at the beginning, but is this truly enough evidence to confirm this is him? And it also raises the question, why are they fighting to begin with? What happened here that caused all of this chaos? After you witness this, it is very likely to lead to a deadly fight after what happened. So you enter a room that was previously closed and inspect a new pile of bones. And it gives the same story of how it came to his end as well. And as you can see, he's seemingly the captain we know him as for now. He ended another person attacking his attack with a knife. As we can see, this unknown person got a British treatment. And this is how the game works. You will see every moment of someone's last moment of life. At that moment you're going to figure out what happened with every single person, and also at the same time figure out who this person actually was. It sounds difficult, and I can tell you it really is. It is a very difficult game. Seeing most of them how they ended is not the difficult part. It is to figure out who this person was with very limited information. This is one of the most difficult games I have ever played. Not from being skilled like playing Dark Souls or Cuphead, more like it requires your brain to figure it out. It is very well done, and I praise Lucas Pope for making such a creative games like Paper Please, and how the game looks like with this pixelated graphics fits very well with the theme. This game is an artistic masterpiece. You have created something very unique, but the problem with this game is that this game is not for the most people. It is usually the case when it comes to puzzle games in general. This game would be much more popular if you only changed the fact it wasn't a detective or puzzle game. It would be much more popular if it was any other genre with this quality, and you know that too. You may come up with like, hey, what about Portal? Yes, that game is a puzzle game, but in comparison that game was easy, and it also had a 3D platform appeal, and it was very unique with the Portal gun that interested many. But if Portal was hard as Obra Dinn and with these graphics, it wouldn't be that popular. I really doubt it, but I might be very wrong. But damn, this game is good. It exceeded my expectation of what I thought this game would be. There are also some flaws with this game I have to mention. The first thing thing is to look how this man met his end. Tell me, did he get game over by the cannon or the beast? One of these options is the right, and you have to choose one which is right. Some of you may point out now the cannon because he was crushed by it by accident, and some will say the kraken because it is crushing him with the cannon. And the problem with this is that both are right, but in Obra Dinn you can only choose one, that is either the cannon or the kraken. You have no option to pick. He got crushed by a cannon with the beast holding it. One of these is the right option, which is quite wrong in my opinion. Either you allow both answers as correct, or you allow a more detailed interpretation the player can do. And this is not the only example of this, but I would rather not show this because of spoiling more of the game. The other thing is that the walking speed is slow, and I just don't understand what developer do this. I've seen this many times over and over again in games like these. This could have been easily implemented by the player. Press shift, the character will walk faster. Just something like that would just have made the experience more pleasant. This type of walking speed is like when you're sneaking on a horror or a stealth game. It also feels quite repetitive when you do the same thing over and over again, watching a new body and see how it ends. It is what you expect when that is game is about, but it could have at least have done something more entertaining instead. Maybe do some kind of unique animation for some, and do something more instead of seeing a blank dark green color with text what you're saying. The only evidence you have is at the moment they get game over. There's no other evidence. There are no signs, there are no books or papers of information and objects you can pick up that will help you with the investigation. This is both a positive and a negative. The positive is that you will not feel annoyed or overwhelmed by extra information you need to take into account, but the negative is that it could have added more immersion to the game and also more lore into the game by finding stuff that could interest the player. For me, this is neither bad nor good. It just depends on you watching this would have preferred. Although, to conclude all of this, I recommend you try this game. It was an interesting game with a really unique art style. Every character had their own unique voice line to every single character you see.
Open the door! Kick it in!
Exactly what I give you!
It was interesting that the smallest detail of attention could help you with the investigation a lot. As for Papers, Please, Lucas Pope did it again by making something very unique and innovative, but I also think why this game never got as popular as it did was because of the gameplay. It is a game that doesn't appeal to most people, and even for me that appreciate the game how it was. It is not the type of game I would play, but I still think you should consider getting this game. It may be a game for you didn't expect. This is a hidden gem that is truly great for what the purpose of this game is. Toby Fox is my personal favorite here, and there's not much that can be said about Toby Fox. He's known for making Undertale and the upcoming game Deltarune, and surprisingly, he has never made any other games before that, which is actually interesting because the only thing he did before was making ROM hacks to Earthbound called Halloween Hack and On Winter Quest. I was considering playing in it, but I think this wouldn't really count, and I have no experience with the Earthbound to begin with, so I think it is for the best I just leave it be. But I can end it off with the famous song Megalovania from Undertale. It's actually not from Undertale, it is from the ROM hack Halloween Hack. That is the actual original Megalovania. Search it up for yourself, and here, take a listen. Thus, the Elysian tale was made by a man with an ambition to make a game he wanted with no programming experience and succeeded. It is likely you never heard about this guy because this was back in 2012, but it was a very successful indie game back then, but after that success it just went quiet. He made another game called Never Stop Sneaking in 2018, but the reception looks like to be quite negative and forgotten, which is a shame. But I do not know if Dinn is even going to make a game again or something, but whatever he does now, I wish him well, doing good in his life. For those that didn't know, Minecraft was first a solo project made by Notch from 2009 to 2010, and in 2014 Notch sold Minecraft to Microsoft. Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about one of the biggest games ever made. It is about other games he made, and well, there's not much to it really. He made a game called Left 4 Dead in 2008, which is obviously Left 4 Dead inspiration, and Last Minute Christmas Shopping 2013, which looks very goofy to be honest. Both are really simple and short, so it is not worth talking about. I don't know what he does anymore because it looks like he has lost all his passion for making games, but in any case he's secretly making one. Imagine if he makes a game better than Minecraft. That would be very ironic. Zeekerss is interesting, and I don't know if I said that name right. I just said it how it sounds in my head, okay? He's interesting and new popular figure to the indie scene. Right now he is working on a strategy and city builder game called the Manor, which is right now early access on Steam. It honestly looks like a AAA game. I just find it impressive. I have not played the game yet, but from what I've seen, I say it is hard to believe this was made by one person, which in my opinion justifies the frustration people have against today AAA studios even more. One person making such a good game against corporations that have millions or even $billion should feel ashamed because of their soullessness. Manor is an example of what AAA studios should be at least be able to create, but nope. Instead, a new Counter-Strike case. Overwatch 2, where's the PvE? Hey normies, buy our new football game. Bugfesta, the mods will fix it. Do you want more Red Dead Online content? Well, we don't care because GTA Online gives us more money. So I just have one message to these corporations. Also, please later on don't become evil and greedy. Anyway, I have gotten off topic now. There are no other Slag games Levit Magic have made. Well, at least what I know. So I just wanted this as an example of what you yourself can be capable of if you just have the determination. So I want to thank you all for watching. If you think I've missed any great solo developers that I've mentioned, then feel free to comment about it. I end this video with, if you liked the video, consider subscribing and liking and comment the video. Have a good day to you.